They chopped me down in the early hours of the morning, just as the birds in my branches had begun to breathe out sweet melody, just as the curled up leaves I bore had started to unfurl in the light of the sun as it gently let go of the horizon, waving adieu as it set course for the west. It was time. I'd seen many a friend leave for the hill, to do their duty, to serve their purpose, a pawn in the plan to project the punish to the public so they could laugh and jeer. Created to help the world breathe a little easier, yet in this forest, sculpted to spur on the final breath. It had never been my turn, but today was different. They tied up the parts of me that they'd sawn away and dragged me to the foot of the hill, where they chiselled and chipped and chopped off a few more limbs until I could stand as a mighty, terrifying structure, heavy and raw enough to abrase the back of anyone forced to drag me to where they would soon be splayed open upon me. It was a few hours after the pilgrim of the sky had left the east behind that I saw him. I saw them tear his clothes away, rolling dice, deciding who most deserved the clothes of this man whom they regarded completely undeserving. I saw them beat his back till it bruised and bled. Then I felt their hands upon mine as I was raised off the ground where I had been laying. Suddenly, I was on his shoulders. I felt the shift as his body trembled beneath my weight, and all of a sudden I felt heavier than before. I felt as if I couldn't have carried myself, so I couldn't bear to think of the strength one would have required, and that he most certainly didn't have. This heaviness didn't last, though, as I knew it would soon be me holding him, as he would undoubtedly slump further from my embrace as time ran away. We reached the top. I hit the ground hard as he finally let go. He was laid on top of me as I saw their faces towering above. In their eyes, something I'd never seen it before. Guilt, reluctance, uncertainty, triumph. There was no way to tell. My vision was mostly blocked by this crumpled collect of flesh and bone. I saw the metal, a carpenter's friend, soon to be the worst nightmare for this carpenter's boy. They positioned it. They drew another tool. They took a step back. They surveyed the situation for a brief second before the flash of familiarity. Just another broken man. A criminal. The screams echoed through the valleys beneath the hill. I couldn't see, but I could envisage every working hand, heads down, would have jerked upwards at the resonating roar, as perhaps they always did at this time of day. It hurt to feel my limbs splintered by a foreign product of the ground, but it hurt more to feel this wounded fabric of the dust graze my bark, to picture all the breath that had once been in this one man. Darkness began to descend. I was sure it was too early for stars. Slowly, time took his body down with it, as my trunk stained with the red that ran in rivers from his temples. His hands that I'd heard had healed. His feet I'd heard had carried him over water. The sap within me rose and fell each time his diaphragm expanded and relaxed, gently reaching lower peaks. In all of 10 seconds and an eternity later, he found the strength for final words. My God, why have you forsaken me? To make sure the job was done, they pierced beneath his ribs. Body broken and blood poured out. One who'd offered him wine declared, surely this man was the Son of God. Some sat and wept. The pool of people protesting below us continued long after I felt his chest cheated of oxygen fall still. Eventually, they tore his mangled body away from me, ready to be wrapped in fragrances and cloth to disguise the scars that would undoubtedly remain. And lying here now, discarded, in the boneyard bearing witness to such barbaric brutality, from a forest they will look to for spring's first signs of life, to a jungle of carcasses guilty of murder. Lying here now, it appears that they're not all like that. I think the corpse I caused was something more than just a body of a man. There was something inside of him, something different, something more. I hope there is more. more breath in his lungs.